I recently bought a new pair of slippers. They're amazing. Fantastic quality, great design, and they have this detachable sole, so you can wear them outside as well. Highly recommendable if you're looking for slippers. What's interesting is I had no idea I needed new slippers until they showed up in my Instagram feed. I spent some time with Ankur, who's the founder of this business, Mahabis Slippers, and he told me that he got the idea from search data. He found that 60% more people were searching for slippers than flip-flops, which is a £4 billion industry, yet he couldn't name a single slipper brand. So after designing his product, Ankur invested heavily in making sure that his slippers showed up in social feeds like mine to become the brand that everyone was talking about and buying. And since then, Mahabis have experienced incredible growth. This is a business birthed by search, but raised by discovery. And that's what I'm here to talk about today, discovery. Now let's jump to mattresses. Established retailers have been selling mattresses for generations. Yet in the last 5 years, this entire area of retail has been disrupted by online direct-to-consumer retailers. The three behind me are just some of the brands that have invaded this so-called sleep industry. And together they've gone from nothing to being a $1.5 billion market. And soon, believe it or not, we are potentially looking at our first ever mattress unicorn. That is an online-only, mattress-only business valued at more than $1 billion. Who would have thought? So you might be wondering why I'm up here talking about my new slippers and about mattresses. It's because the same thing is happening in pretty much all areas of retail. We've seen it happen in food, in shaving, in glasses, in fashion, in beauty, and the list goes on. The Financial Times called this the disruption of mundane products. I really love that term, the disruption of mundane products. This is not a small niche trend. It's serious levels of funding, growth, and increasingly market share. Between them, the top brands in this space have already raised more than $1.5 billion in VC investment. That stat alone should be a wake-up call for any established retailers or brands. But all of these businesses are very different. But they have one thing in common. They're built on discovery. The founders of these businesses have realized that in today's world, with today's technology, they don't have to sit and wait for people to find their products. They can have their products automatically find people. It's important to note discovery is not a new thing in shopping. It's been key to the way we shop since the beginning of time. But this is different. Technology, and by that I mean mobile phones, fast internet, video-first communication, people-based marketing, all of that is coming together to supercharge discovery on mobile phones specifically. You could say mobile phones are supercharging a behavior that has always been core to shopping. And if you talk to some of these disruptors, that trend seems so painfully obvious. Take Birchbox, one of the beauty companies I showed on the earlier slide. Katja, the founder, she'll tell you that she calls this whole trend the rise of the passive shopper. In the beauty industry, only about 20% of people are active beauty shoppers. She's built her entire business on going after the 80% passive shoppers and helping them also discover great brands. And think about my slippers. I had no idea I needed new slippers. I would never have gone and looked for those slippers. They found me. And so the businesses that are winning today, the ones that we can see are really successful, are the ones that have realized that they don't actually have to sit and wait for purchase intent, for somebody to go and look for their products. They can go and create that. And on our platform, we've seen firsthand just how powerful discovery can be. For those of you that have used Facebook for a while, think back, kind of 10 years plus. If you wanted an update on a person or a brand or group you were following, you had to search for it, you had to go and find it, and then you get the update. Right? It was a pull world. Until one day, an engineer thought, wouldn't it be nice if all of those updates came to me? And that little idea became the newsfeed, the way we're used to consuming content on mobile phone today. But back then, we weren't used to it. In fact, we hated it. When the newsfeed launched, the day after, the engineering team woke up to a new group on Facebook called I Hate Newsfeed, Turn It Off. And it had 1 million members. People hated it. They weren't used to this. But the irony was, the only way that those 1 million people had been able to find that group and join it overnight was the newsfeed, the power of discovery. So over the last 10 years, we've been building on that insight, making the newsfeed the world's most advanced discovery engine. And we don't say that lightly. Every single day, we have 1.3 billion people logging onto our platform. And for every person, for every login, every single feed is unique. That is discovery on massive scale. So let's take a step back. So we realize that all of these disruptors they've seen that insight. They've seen that actually in today's world, they can use discovery to supercharge their businesses. They don't have to wait for purchase intent. They can create it. They can use technology to activate passive shoppers. But the reality is, any one of us can compete in that space. If you want to compete, there's 3 obstacles you need to overcome. Challenge number 1 is standing out with the endless amount of content that's being created in the world today. And this is pretty mind-boggling stuff. If you were to take all the information that's been created since the beginning of time up to about 2003, you could store all of that information, all videos, all songs, all books ever written, in about 5 billion gigabytes worth of data. Today, that same amount of content is being created every 10 minutes. That means by the time I'm done talking, assuming I stick to time, another 8 billion gigabytes worth of data will have been created. And not only do we create a lot of content, we also consume a lot of content. As a thought experiment, if you were to take all the information that a person goes through on average in feeds in a day, print it all out, put it next to each other, it would be roughly the height of Big Ben. That is how much content a normal person goes through in feeds every single day. And in a world where so much content is created and so much content is consumed, only that which is relevant and remarkable stand out. And we see this firsthand on our own platform. We invest a lot in advanced AI and in machine learning to try and determine what's most relevant to show to people. When a person comes onto our platform, we could on average probably show them 2,000 pieces of content. But if that person in that moment only goes through 10% of that, we have to use AI and machine learning to try and determine what is the most relevant 10% to show them. Now, why is that important? Well, it's because if you're a retailer or brand trying to stand out in the world, you have to fight really hard to be remarkable and relevant and stand out. Otherwise, people will thumb past you. And I want to show you an example of one retailer that is fighting hard and innovating to try and be in that 10%, be relevant and remarkable. This is Zalando. When Zalando first launched the Topshop brand on their platform, they wanted that to get out all over Europe. Topshop is now available on Zalando. And they got Cara Delevingne to produce a great video with that message. Normal approach would have been to take that video and then just get it out to the target audience. But they didn't stop there. They produced 60,000 different variations of that video. And then they used technology to try and make it seem like Cara Delevingne was saying all these different city names. The outcome of which was, if you're standing in Hamburg, Cara will pop up in your feed on Instagram or Facebook and say, Topshop is now available in Hamburg. Relevant and remarkable. But just to be clear, I'm not recommending to anyone to try and leave today and then go and create 60,000 different variations of a video. That's not the point. All right, this was a test. The results were amazing. But figure out what works for your brand. Start testing. Sometimes small variations of creative can make a really big difference and help you stand out. Second challenge, the human need for speed. Because not only do we create a lot of content and consume a lot of content, we also do it incredibly fast. The average time spent on a piece of content on Facebook is about 2.5 seconds. That includes updates from friends and family. People go through content fast. And the next generation of shoppers, they're only doing it faster. This is Facebook data showing average consumption speed by age group. Short summary, people under 20 consume content twice as fast as people over 50. Next generation of corporate shoppers, even faster. And why is that important? Well, it's because even if you fought really hard to be relevant and remarkable and stand out and get into that 10% and get in front of people, you still have to land your messages fast. It doesn't mean people don't watch long-form content on their mobile phones, but you have to grab their attention in the first few seconds. We call that the 3-second audition. We advise people to create thumb-stopping content. The good news is we are actually a human being able to process content fast, particularly when we're focused on something like a mobile phone. And I want to try and demonstrate that. If I could just ask everyone to look at the screen and then keep reading and see if you can keep up with the text. Ready? Our minds can process content fast, particularly when we're focused. But you still have to grab people's attention in today's world. I want to show you 3 different brands that are doing that really well. Very different types of products. First one, Bose, showing us one way you can grab attention and land an emotion around their high-end headphones in just 10 seconds on a mobile phone. Perfect mobile video. Next, Heinz shows us one way you can grab attention for ketchup on a mobile phone and land a simple message which is 100% natural ingredients in just 8 seconds. It doesn't have to be that complicated. And last, the buffed Mr. Clean shows us one way you can grab attention for a cleaning product in just 2 seconds. I'll just leave that looping. The point is, whatever it takes to grab attention, whatever it takes to stand out, whatever it takes to get the thumb to stop, start experimenting, figure out what works for your business and for your brand. Last challenge is keeping up with the consumer shift to visual communication. And this is potentially the single biggest trend that we're seeing on our platforms at the moment. Again, think about how you've used our platforms over time. It used to be text updates. Then we became comfortable with images and posting images. Now it's all about video-first communication. And we have no doubt that the next big phase of this will be augmented reality and virtual reality, and we're making a lot of investments in that area. And there'll be stepping stones to that. 360-degree video is already performing really well on our platform. We invest a lot in helping retailers build tools for retailers to help them better connect with people in a more visual way. And I want to show you a new piece of technology we've been building in partnership with a couple of UK brands, so Mulberry and ASOS, a couple of others. Basically, what we've tried to do is combine our 2 most visual products. One, Instagram Stories, the other is Canvas. Just a quick show of hands, how many of you have tried Instagram Stories? Okay, so quite a few. It is one of the fastest growing formats in the history of Facebook. We launched it a little more than a year ago, and already we have more than 250 million daily active people on Instagram Stories. So we took that product, and we combined it with Canvas, which gives retailers and brands an ability to create an immersive format. Let me show you what it looks like. So basically, you're in Instagram, you have your stories at the top. The first one you get into when you click up there is one of your friends, a colleague. Then you get into a Mulberry story, and then at the bottom it says, swipe up to discover. So if you want to learn more about that new range, you get the editorial content, video, beautiful images. And if you like what you see, you can then say shop new arrivals. That is discovery to immersion to shopping in seconds. We believe that that's the next big phase of mobile discovery. So where does that leave us? Let's go back to my slippers. I love my slippers. I paid £80 for them, and I had no idea I needed them. But they found me, they showed up in my Instagram feed. And every day that is happening for millions of people across Facebook and Instagram. And the disruptors I showed you earlier have realized that. They have realized that today, they don't have to sit and wait for people to find their products. They can get their products to automatically go out and find people. They can activate the passive shoppers. But anyone can compete in that space, right? But there's 3 questions you need to bring back to your business if you want to do that. Question number 1, how can we use data to be even more relevant? Question number 2, how can we be even more visual in our communication? And question number 3, how can we grab attention and land messages faster than we ever thought possible before? And if you answer those 3 questions for your business, the potential is huge. At Facebook, we like to say when products find people, businesses find growth. Thank you so much for your time.